Hello everyone and welcome to yet another live coding and chill. I'm your host Johnny and I honestly hope you'll have a lovely Friday, a lovely weekend, a lovely end of the week, maybe extended weekend if you're celebrating some things that are happening around this time. But I also hope that you may be working alongside with me, still a little bit with some coding with me another Friday. So today we'll keep on building on the Emoji of the Week app, which for today it has selected the double exclamation mark emoji, and I can see that some people are asking for quotes already. That's pretty cool. If this is your first time joining in this series of streams, we're asking ChatGPT, OpenAI, to pretend to impersonate some fictional characters, my favorite fictional characters, mostly from video games and other stories though, fictional characters, and ask them what do they think about the emoji of the day, how does it inspire them. And we'll also have a section where you can actually ask how would you make like a TikTok for the emoji of the day. I see some people have been asking for advice every other day, which is always fun. I love it when people check out my stuff in my streams, and I hope that it inspires you to do something cool yourself. So today, if we want to share the emoji of the day to some people, if we paste it on like iMessage or WhatsApp or whatever, we'll be getting a very boring image. We'll be getting, well, I can just paste emoji of here into this tool called metatags.io that I've shown previously. And what we get indeed is a title that doesn't say the emoji of the day, very barren description. And if you share on like Facebook and Twitter, the examples here, you can also have like LinkedIn or wherever else. It doesn't have the social preview image, it will have something else. And social preview images are essential. I've covered this when Next.js 13 came about, where it happened to launch with their dynamic open graph image generation, where they made it much easier. But months before that, we were doing live streams where we were trying to create a service that pretty much makes it easier for your app to have nice social preview images, because I honestly believe that's one of the most important things you can do nowadays. People always say, you know, SEO, for SEO you need to do this, for SEO you need to do that. One of the biggest things you can do for SEO today to get people on your site is to have a very enticing, a very cool social preview image. So people share something cool they found on your site, and then the social preview card makes it look even cooler. Other people click on it, and that's how you generate more engagement, more views. And click-through rates are important anywhere you advertise. So SEO pro tip: have great social preview images. Not like the app we have now, which has none. So we'll fix that today. And at this point, we will be taking inspiration from what Next.js and the team over at Next.js has done, even though no such feature exists for SvelteKit yet. Of course, Next.js has the company Carousel behind them. It's the same team, the same organization, and Carousel now also employs a very famous SvelteKit person, Rich Harris. And you can only hope that a feature like this will make it to SvelteKit in the future. But I have no idea if that's ever going to happen. No promises, definitely for me. I'm in no position to promise anything. Until then, let's see how they do it. Because the Carousel OG library that you may have seen if you have used Next.js lately to create open graph images, or our previous stream, maybe a few months ago, where we actually tried it out here live. Behind the scenes, it is using a library called Satori, which is also in the Carousel organization as well. So I guess they very kindly created this library that is framework agnostic. So no matter if you use React or Svelte or something else, in theory you should be able to use this library and create nice images, dynamic images for your apps. So will it actually work? We'll find out today. And I guess one last thing to mention here is that for most apps, you don't need dynamic open graph image generation. You can have your designer or have someone or have you go to Figma and create a very nice social preview image for you. You should always have a card, as I mentioned, for sharing purposes. Having that card be nice is essential. You should have this one day. Does it need to be dynamic? Maybe not. But actually, this app that we are building here, it makes some sense because every day it picks a different emoji and you may want to share a particular emoji. So it would indeed be cool if the social image card was dynamic and it featured the emoji of the day and potentially the, you know, the MVP feature of this app, like most valuable feature of this app, where ChatGPT, a famous character, fictional character, is making a quote about the emoji. So if we can integrate that, that's a differentiator. That's good to show that it exists. It may entice people to click through the app. So for most apps, I don't think you actually need dynamic open graph image generation, but for this app in particular, which updates every day automatically and needs me to do nothing, that would be cool. So here's a great example of where you would actually need it. If you write a blog post every few months or every few years like I do, you don't need that. Just create a nice social preview image for your next blog post because you spent a lot of time writing the blog post anyway. Make a great image as well. I can go on this subject for hours, like arguments and counter arguments, but let's get a bit closer to coding. So we've talked about the Emoji of the Day app, talked about the meta tags tool that I've used before and use today. We've kind of looked at what Carousel is doing. They are using this library they've created. Previous ways to do that, what GitHub was doing and what we tried to use before this library existed, was use Puppeteer or other tools that run browsers and can take screenshots to create the image like that. But this makes it much easier, and we'll see if it's actually possible to use in a different framework other than React. A cool thing they just released yesterday, when I've already planned to do this stream, is that they are switching, or they're also enabling a file-based metadata API, which is super cool. I may cover that in a next episode. I am thinking of doing Next.js Tuesdays, so instead of just one stream every Friday, maybe one stream every Friday and one every Tuesday, like Friday Svelte and all the rest, and maybe dedicated Next.js stuff on Tuesday. I haven't done Next.js in quite a long time on a stream, so would that be interesting? Let me know. But I think that's pretty much enough for the paperwork, boilerplate, I don't know how to call this, intro section. Let me know in the chat how you are, how's your Friday going? I hope it's going great. Is any of this interesting for you? What would you like to see next? Let me know. Otherwise, let's get to the coding part. So locally, I do have a different database running in Docker, a local database, not a production database. And let me switch to the desktop view. So we have this app running locally, which has a different pick, Trolleybus, and it picked Tally yet again to ask for a quote here. I think Spider-Man would have been great for a Trolleybus emoji comment, but hey, it's random picks. But that's by the by. What we want to do is make this title be a bit better. So if we look at our layout component as a refresher, in previous streams we have shown how you could do metadata with Svelte. We have the concept of dedicated meta tags for a page and an object of default meta tags that you'll always have. So if a specific route, like it's the about route or the advice route, provides a different title and a different description, that will be used. But if you forgot to add one, or you don't want to add one, then you fall back to this one, the default meta tag, which if we look at the layout.server file, you'll see that it's got a title, which is always emoji of the day, as in here, and a description, which is nothing too too fancy, and that's fine for a default tag, better than nothing. But what we probably want is a default open graph image to go with it, and a more specific title, especially for this page and the previous pages of different dates. Maybe explain that it's the emoji of the other day and it's actually this instead of always having the crown emoji. So for that to happen, we can go to our home page and actually we can go to the homepage server load method, and you can see after it loads everything, after it loads the emoji of the day, it returns for the UI to use the emoji itself, the quotes, which is this, the remaining characters, which if I slide this up a bit, you can just about see that we have a drop down to ask other characters for a quote, and press the button to it. And the previous pick, that's a link that gets you to the previous page, to the previous emoji, the emoji of the previous day. So you can go back forward here, backwards there. What we don't return is a meta object, which, as we saw, is what our layout will use. If it is there, it will use this for the title and the description. So let's do that now. And return meta and say that the title can be GitHub Copilot claims this. And a description codes from fictional characters. So let's maybe say read what Carousel has to say about it, or Tally in this case. So I guess we're mapping the quotes here. So maybe name that DB quotes and say that quotes is actually this. To do that, and I'll call this here. So then we can say quotes 0 character name. We asked. So if we do that, we can see that immediately, thanks to our layout component, we do get the tram appearing in the title. Doesn't look too bad, and we can check the description tag here. So in head we should have a description tag. Most of the day is whatever, and we asked Tally for a quote. Are we repeating the title? Not really. So cool. Object type could also be website, which we may switch on to. Let's suddenly check our layout and see what we've done here based on what we've done in previous streams. So we have the title there, and I always include the name of the site, the app as well. We have the description, we have the open graph, that's the format that Facebook kind of pioneered, and the default format for this social media. Previews, the cards, and the content is again the title for this. The object type is article. It could also be website, I guess. Is that a valid type? I think I've seen that before. Yeah, not an article. So let's say times website for us. Description, cool. And apparently we may also be well suited to add some Twitter stuff here when we finally add the image, because everything else, the image, the URL as well. How would we get this URL? Do we really need it? I think SvelteKit offers the canonical URL. Let's have a quick look. I think it's the page URL. But this is the whole. Is it the whole URL? We'll find out. So this old CSS tricks article also mentions, let's have a URL. Let's double check with protocol. Yeah, so it should be the canonical URL. Sure. Page store, URL, the whole href, I guess, is what we want. And we can see it has localhost 5173. Here, you'll have to trust me. I've been playing Resident Evil 4, the remake, and there's a lot of trusting going on there. So this dynamically changes to /advice, and of course when we deploy it's going to be HTTPS, emoji that's off wherever we've deployed. So that's all well and good. We have successfully, let me add my timer as well, because I always forget to stop, and if I code non-stop then I ramble even longer than usual. Nobody wants that. So let's add my Pomodoro timer. But with this, we have added more dynamic title and description tags for the main page. let's add it for the previous route as well. So this one still has the default title because we didn't change anything there. But I guess we can take inspiration from what we did here and open our the day, year, month, day page server.ts file. So this loads the emojis of previous days. The way it works, if you can see the URL here, this is the root of the website. Maybe I'll show it on the live app. So this is the root of the website, and then I have a route that resolves to the day, and then dynamically this is the year, this is the month, and this is the date. So it's like in the format that computers like. So if I ask for the emoji of last year, we get an error because we couldn't find an emoji pic from last year. The app has only been live for a little while. And this is all accomplished thanks to these magic brackets we have here in the routing, but that's all by the by. What we really want to do, yet again, is add a meta tag. And I guess we have the date somewhere, the current date. Guess it's this. So once again, I need to change these database quotes. Oh, maybe not. Maybe yes. So once again, I need to change these DB quotes. And then say that quotes are actually what happens if you map the DB quotes. So don't think you need to null coalesce. So again, this should be happy. And here and use the mapped codes to say that from the first code get this character. Now for this page we also get Virgo, it's the emoji of that date, so it's not localized. Can we localize it? Something for the future. We should probably have it in the page as well, but it's the date that we're talking about. And the description should be the official emoji of that date was, and we ask Scrooge McDuck for a quote. Who can resist clicking on that? Someone that sees that there is no open graph image is who. So that's what we'll be adding next. So now I think we've officially added dynamic title and description tags in all the important routes, which is the emoji pic routes. Next, time for the open graph image. I should probably make a default image. Should have made one in Figma and we can start from that, but maybe not. Maybe that's not the best of ideas. We have the Carousel blog post in Open Graph library here for inspiration, but probably not need anymore. I think what's next is not live read the docs. But actually bring in this library and see what we get. So I don't think Vite will have JSX enabled. But we'll try it and see what happens. I imagine that we'll need to do this already transpiled JSX. This is how React could have been when it started, if you started working back then. That's by the by. So, to the terminal, npm id Satori. I did want this for inspiration, just to see what they do there. And it seems that they have a Pages API OG TSX going for them, which is fair enough. Maybe that's what we'll be doing. So to recreate that in SvelteKit, we are in routes. We have an API folder already, and let's do an og.server.ts. I imagine that the TSX will not be enabled. We'll find it out. Let's say what do we want to return? I think we want to return. So let's look at other server files. Our other server files return a response, which is great. I guess that's what we want to return in the other ones. So we want SvelteKit to handle a GET request to API/OG for the Open Graph images. For that, we need to export a GET. And let's say that it will return no response. But I think that we'll have a can have headers as well. And we can probably type this. Satisfies request handler. And can we get it from types? Probably. This should be generated immediately. Guess not. Will it ever be generated? Who knows? Ah, of course, it needs to actually be. This is not Next.js, this is SvelteKit. So I need the OG directory, put that in there, and actually make this be plus server tsx magic file. Now this will appear, I hope. It will definitely appear, no doubt. Is it because it's not a TS file? I guess so. Yeah, so now it appears. So not TSX for us. We can add this as a kind of dependency, I guess, but maybe that's a bit gross to do. Let's visit our little OG endpoint. Happy See, we make it here. Great. But we need to return an image. We need to return an image. So the content type will be image SVG plus XML. Huh. Sure. So we're gonna be returning SVG, and I wonder what's the smallest SVG we can find. Do we have any SVGs here? Probably. So if we actually were to return this, it works. And this is an image, I guess. Let's look at the network request. This has everything. This has all the network requests, so let's refresh now. And we can see that indeed this returns an SVG. Great. If I were to save this, I would save it as an SVG. Brilliant. So the content type is correct, our SVG is correct, but what we actually want to do now is to have this return something nice for our website. That sounded too Irish for me. But the thing is, we won't be able to use TSX. Well, this is fair enough. But it does mean that we need to do something like this. We can simply pass. It's not that simple, but we'll see. We may need to do some JSX support just because this is like too tough for me. Const, let's say, we call this VG, I guess so. This should be asynchronous. Satori is a library we bring in. TypeScript doesn't want to help here. No options, thanks. And what options do we need? Oh. So let's do width and height. And there should be in that thing, in that CSS Tricks website, a suggestion on how big we should make the images. All right. So looks like we want 1200 width, height 630. And what else? Why is it upset? It needs fonts. Interesting. It needs fonts. Super interesting indeed. Cool. So we have to use a font here. I do have a library called font source that has the CSS at least of a font. I wonder if they also provide the row. I think the answer is going to be no, sadly. So they have the fonts, they have Google fonts, they have like whatever fonts here. And do they only have CSS? Yeah, doesn't look like they have the actual TrueType font there. It's fair enough. So let's go to Google Fonts and download the left. This one. Download this family. So there you had it. Open this up. And let's just get this one, I suppose. In the same directory we have our server file, the node.z. Let's find that in Finder. Drag and drop. If regular there. And I do believe I should be able to do a fence request here. Here a fetch example. Does the edge have a fetch? Does the edge runtime have a fetch? I think they don't. That's why. Yeah, you can't read or write from the file system. Fair enough. Alright, so let's see if that will work. Let's try to do import aleph font URL from this. This should be just a string. So if I use it, well, we have an example here. I think I saw one. Maybe not. think I saw an issue that was saying things. Right, so I was reading about this and I saw an example that seemed to do what we want, even though that's not part of the problem. So here we go. Let's get this. I guess this will already be what we want. Get this as an array buffer. Where is this used? So here, let's see what type of object we have. This is what they mentioned, but on the other page I think they had a few other properties, like the font weight. Font weight and style. Guess they may be optional. And the name of the font should indeed be Aleph. Looks like yes. Right, so if I try again, error again. Cannot use relative URL. Sure. Ooh. Let's use the SvelteKit fets. Unsupported open type signature. What? Supported open type signature. I can only imagine. Yeah, so Satori doesn't like this because of whatever Aleph data is. And try to not bring this in. It's the problem with the specific font that we have here. Maybe. Let's do some live debugging. Let's see. Unsupported. Nothing here. That's unfortunate. What else could this be? It has to be an array buffer, so this just works fine. It is an array buffer, but I guess they don't quite like this. Does this repo say something about type fonts? I can only imagine they say that they like them. Timer's gone off, so it's a bit time to reset and talk to the chat. Good. but looks great. So if I just do array buffer, then it should cross like a different way. Sure. But when I do this, it doesn't like it for unsupported open type signature. Did I download something else? The bold version. Let's download Roboto as well. And try to get that in. Again, open type signature, we don't like it. Oh well. At least that kinda means that we didn't have an unlucky problem with this specific font. We have problems with every font, but we'll figure it out. We will figure it out. So we are in this step where we want to use Satori, but use custom fonts. That's actually what's blocking us, because they're not an optional cool thing. You actually need them. You need to pass some font here. So we'll see why that is a problem. I will restart my timer after this quick sip. And go again. So, supported open type signature. Interesting. So maybe we're not actually loading this correctly. This is definitely here. Definitely correct URL. Let's find it. I guess we do get something out of this. Which load array buffer. Those things. Bit import buffer, anything here, buffer. Nope. Let's find this error again. So we can put that in the public directory, I guess, or the static directory, whatever that is for us. How else can we import it? I think we would be able to solve it if we put it in the normal directory. What's the mess I was looking at? This is similar to the problem we're having, but I think it's not the one we want. Anyway, let's not do it like that. Let's find our static directory, have like a fonts directory, and try to put our font there. So this Aleph regular, let's put it here. And that's fonts Aleph regular. Type font. See if we have more luck with that. We do. So we can debug later why we're not nicely importing this as an array buffer. If we import row, is it not an array buffer? String to array buffer. Oof. Okay, doesn't really matter. We have an SVG here. Let's return this, no response, instead of our template string of a string. And are we getting a hello world back? Yes, we do, and it does have our Aleph font, I'm pretty sure. So that's all awesome. And yeah, it works. So we've managed to nicely load the font that we want to use. That's all great. One of our problems is how will we nicely style this without React, without JSX. Can we actually do it? Like, this is tricky, to say the least. One are the days where I could actually do this. Vit JSX. This claims TSX files are supported out of the box. SvelteKit TSX? Cybernetically, yeah. So I'm wondering if I had open graph images. Yes, thanks. How would I export that? I'll figure it out. Let's find an example from Satori. Do I need to return this? I don't think so. So prettier is adding the question mark here, which I don't want, because this should just be the like HTML, I guess. I don't particularly want to turn off prettier here. And I imagine it's the same if this is JSX, right? Yeah, that's the thing. But if I do this, or do I just need to export default? Maybe. Yeah, I don't want React here. I just want to have some TSX in this file. So let's not auto format for once in our lives. Just put this here. And all I want is to try to import that file. So saying some module. Why not? This. Doesn't like it. Doesn't like it. React is not defined. So can I bring in JSX transpiler without bringing in React? It's claiming here that JSX is supported out of the box. So how does that work? Of course, fragments and all that stuff. What does the JSX actually look like? What does button actually look like? Guess it's a method, it's a default export, probably. Defined. Well, seen that before, but that's the one where would it just be easier to not do it, to do it without JSX? Yes. But React is a dev dependency. That's crazy. Okay, not as bad as I thought. Okay. But the problem is that we will need to pass this some dynamic variables here. Right? And I won't be able to do this because this is a TS file, not a DSX file. I think we'll manage to figure it out. So let's call this open graphiness. Surprise React tutorial here. Call this TSX. A little bit weird. we're not gonna do this. Get around this. Try reloading this code. Right. Ah, they still don't zip the types in React itself. I see. Interesting. So here, once again, I'm going to import this, and now maybe we'll manage to pass some variables, hopefully. Or can I do something in my Svelte config or something to also hit TSX files? I think the empty specs repository from our friend the Penguin may have something in the documentation we can be inspired by. Maybe if we do TypeScript X as well in the extensions, we'll be able to import TSX. It's gonna be here. What's the default for the extension? That's what I want to know. Right, just .svelte here, so that's not what we want. But there should be something. Aha! This is it, module extensions. Maybe that's what we want. Alright, if that solves the problem, then that's actually good for a video, because it's a bit of a gotcha, isn't it? So if we make the server file now DSX, yeah, it doesn't like it. SvelteKit magic. needs this to be .ts, not .tsx. So the magic happens on plus server TS and plus server TS, not TSX. And I was hoping that actually hitting this would make it work. But clearly it doesn't. If I remove the satisfies from here, it will still not work. This is unfortunate. The moment I make this .ts, it's happy, it creates the types, it resolves this. Guess it doesn't like because it's not an SVG anymore. Maybe not. Anyway, this is not a valid SVG anyway, so we shouldn't debug this problem too much. This works less than ever. Wonder why. Too lowercase. Given how little I can make this work, I think we need to revert our React dependency here. Get that out of here. Get that out of here. Keep that. Get that out of here. Hopefully that's gonna be it. Nothing changed to this config, hope. So it should be happy. Seems I've changed something like irrecoverably. All of these should be fine. What's the problem here? I guess the problem was without the JSX syntax. Yeah, all right, so we're kind of back. A sip of coffee and we'll get there. What we really want, even though it's going to be ugly, we can do this even without JSX syntax. Hey, Bogat's in the chat. Saying, hi Johnny, I won't stay for long, but I like your channel. I like you too, that's awesome. And yeah, I've been enjoying doing this Emoji of the Day pick app. Definitely the previous episodes with ChatGPT and DALL were more exciting and hot topics and all of that. But as I said, like social preview images, super important. Next.js has it easy. SvelteKit, we still need a solution for that, so I'm excited to get to the bottom of this and see how we can use this library. And thanks for your support anytime you watch the videos and comment. That makes me feel good. So no worries about watching now, later, just, you know, watch. And that's all I want. That's the most I can want, really. So let's see. We want this. This is already an image, this is already an SVG, this is already good. But without using JSX, without using HTML, we want this to be something nice, a nice image, not just a hello world. So how do we do that? I guess, can we keep nesting stuff? So can we say with 100%? Right, 100%. Good. Anyway, my question was, can we nest things inside other... Wait, my keyboard went rogue here. I think I'm the only engineer I know or see on live streams that goes with a 60% keyboard, which can be tricky sometimes. This... Let's make a nice background color for us. Cool. Got that color in. So my question is, can we have divs inside divs? So inside this, can we have another component as itself? Yeah, but this time the color is going to be white. Display flex. Seems like that's what it wants. Alright. We're getting there. So I guess make this a bit bigger. You can see that the image is quite big. What do we want to have? In the middle we want to have an emoji, for sure. We want to say the emoji of the day. Do we want to say, what do we want to do? We want to have the quote from somebody somewhere. And do we want the emoji first? Yes, let's put the emoji nice here. Ooh, so we need to load an emoji font as well for that to render. That's a good point. But our emoji font, we know that it is not a color emoji, so let's download that one from Google Fonts. I probably have it downloaded somewhere. Anyway, maybe I didn't. So let's do the regular one. Drop this. Guess we can delete the roboto, but we can go to the static directory in fonts, get our emoji font in. Cute. And copy relative path. Call this emoji. Leave this the name. So instead of just the one, we'll have not emoji here. Will not like the not emoji font. That's critical for us, because emojis are going to be a big deal. So static, not emoji, regular. We type is correct. Yeah. So if this was Aleph regular, that works, but not emoji, it just doesn't. It does look the same to me. Like we should have it. Let's do a quick refresh, because you never know. Oh. Okay, that actually helped. But that's not the one we want, because that doesn't look great. It's not a color emoji. Come on, that's so much better. This is what we want. Cuter. I don't know why you need to restart the server, but it looks like that's what we need to do. But it doesn't register itself as whatever it is. It's not sans serif. So what we actually do in our Tailwind config for fonts, we fall back to the emoji font if we can't find it. So maybe if we kinda add this as a style or font family, maybe we'll be good to go. Maybe not. So we should be dropping back to that font. I guess the color of things doesn't really matter here. Just check whether the background color is messing up things. Answer is no. So another emoji here. So why does it not like this font? It worked with the other one. Anything else? So Bukas asks, are you happy with Satori? I have used it before indirectly using Vercel Z, and it worked alright. As you may be able to see, this is the first time I'm using it live for Svelte and SvelteKit. And I am very happy for the project, but I am having trouble because it seems a lot of its handiness is based on being able to parse JSX, which makes sense. Like, I'm more comfortable parsing JSX as well, but I wish they had a Svelte out of the box solution as well, or you know, you could somehow have an HTML file somewhere and you could just parse an HTML string in there, right? So if they had that instead of JSX, I'd be super happy. But I can see why they don't. But I wish they do. Maybe someone has solved this problem. I have been here before. But maybe that wasn't quite used as much. They are doing the same thing. Yeah, it doesn't seem like this works. Fair enough. So we got a bit further than this. So Mukat says the concept doesn't seem to be easy to implement HTML to SVG. I wouldn't be surprised to see errors and limitations. Yeah, so with Vercel OG, it worked quite well, and they have even enabled Tailwind support for that. There are some guesses, some things that you'd expect to be able to do, but because SVG cannot really translate the thing you're trying to do in HTML into it, you'll get an unexpected error. But I think because you can be quite tame and reserved with the HTML you want to render for your social media images, it's alright. The previous solution I tried was what GitHub is actually doing, what I found out later, for their excellent social media preview images, which is have Puppeteer hit an endpoint of the actual site and take a screenshot of that. So you are in control what type of browser hits that website. It is going to be React or Svelte or whatever you want there. So it's going to be very expected what you're going to get. But the problem with that is that running Puppeteer is something heavy, is something that takes time, is something that you can't really do in a serverless environment. It's very hard to run Puppeteer or Playwright or whatever else in a serverless environment because they're so big. So that's the ideal solution. I'd say that's the one where you get the best result, but it is quite tough. The fact that Vercel OG and Satori can run on serverless functions, I think that's huge. So it may be worth the trade-off of needing to be aware what you can do trying to get an HTML transported into SVG. But if it also means I need to do all of this React create element from 10 years ago type of syntax, that may be a bit too much for me as a solution. So we'll see. We'll see. And my problem as well, an example of that is that we fall back to the nice emoji font, all nice and good for the regular site, but I'm having trouble now getting Satori to load the font that if it were a site, I know how to load this font and fall back to the emoji font there, but having Satori translate all of this into the correct SVG, it's not quite working for us. I wonder what it's actually doing for that font to work. Don't really know. And interestingly, it just seems to have this square and no content here. The moment I add something, it does have a path that we fill. Interesting, that's quite weird. We can't see it, but when it does the emojis, then it doesn't even have anything. It has no data in this path. Interesting. But why? And I think p tags, for example, won't be supported either. Right, let's get to something that works yet again. What we had here. Cannot do that. I'm gonna load again the black and white font because we had more success with that. And see. So I have to do it again. Download family. Maybe it's gonna be like a nice. It's gonna be more stylistic if it's black and white. That's what I'll keep telling myself. So if this is not emoji, and I call this not emoji, and I can keep it, even keep the fallback here. And I restart the server for some reason. It will show the emojis just fine. It's just the color emojis it doesn't like, which must be a limitation of Satori. The way these are encoded in the color font doesn't quite map, can only imagine. But keep on tracking. I guess the color won't matter here. Font size. Well, can I do pixels? Oh, it will matter. Well, that's unexpected, but cool. Alright, we're getting somewhere. We are getting somewhere. So if I go to my app CSS, that one. Copy to maps. Color is going to be brand hue. And copy color is going to be this, but the numbers are 197. Is that going to be a visible difference? Maybe not. Space. Cool. And maybe I can define this color at the top level as well. Don't define it for everyone. Cool, still works. This was something else. Just gets expected. Alright. Okay, subtle but nice. And now the idea is, how do I get this? Can this be an array? Maybe not. Guess if this will need to be flex if it's gonna be an array. Ah, this can be an array, I'm sure. Cool. And what are we gonna say? We're gonna say the emoji of the day is something. But carrots. Okay. Guess it can be even bigger. So the emoji of the day is whatever this is we want to say, and do we just want to have it in the middle? Accent color, maybe. Brand color. Emphasis color. Let's use that one. The emphasis hue is 27 degrees. Let's use it here and have our big smiling emoji have a color. What's this color? Not super double. Anyway, we'll fix it up. But why did I want to do this? So I want something saying the emoji of the day is blah blah blah. Needs to be bigger. Right, cool. Why does it not know how big that emoji is? Do I want to say string 0 on this? Select string 0, no margins. Alright, cool. And maybe on this one, the main container can add a gap. 4 pixels, why not 32 pixels there. So we won't have the dynamic quote here. Maybe we could only have a quote, but we'll figure it out. What I really want is to do an item center. What do you do in regular HTML? I guess it's this. Maybe we want some pattern as well. That's a good idea. The other element we also want it to be flex 0, flex string 0. And maybe these two can be their own elements. Nah, should be fine. The question now is, how do we get some dynamic parameters here? So we can use this on any page, or not any page, like today's page. So I guess we'll have them in the URL, and we can get the search button. GitHub Copilot is not correct now. What we'll actually be doing, are we capturing search parameters somewhere else in this app? Feels like it. Yeah. So let's still do that. And we'll have the emoji character. Maybe just the emoji code to start with. And if we look in my database, we can have like a default emoji. Copy cell content. This doesn't have one. It can be this. Cool. And we can use this to access our database. Database here, and we can from the emojis table select the code again, character, and the name. Yeah. And I guess this will have a data and an error. And this will be a single. Can you throw error in server responses? I'd like the throw error thing, but should I do it in the server? I guess the answer is yes. There's somewhere else. I don't know why it's not getting it from there. Error 44. Right, so let's await this. And data will never be null because I'm doing singlet with error, but hey. If error or no data, throw this. Oh, I see. That's why it didn't want. Result error or no result data. Throw the SvelteKit error. And all of those are nice and dandy. But what I want is to use the result data because here I want the emoji character and here I want the emoji name. So I forgot in the select to also say that we want to have a filter. We want the code to equals emoji code. All right, so now we're back to this. Great. And if we go to Unicode, the emoji list, and stop at random, oh, the cowboy. Ah, let's do that. Ta-da! So if we go to add a URL parameter for code, this is it the plus that it doesn't like? Guess so. I think we need to escape that parameter. I think. Because if we had this here, yeah, this would work. But it doesn't work when we have it in the URL parameters. Yeah, because the plus becomes space. So URL encode plus. Sure. So if we make the plus be this, isn't better? It's not. Maybe the B is important. Yeah, the B is part of it. Alright, so we can kinda do it. We can kinda do it. But what we want is to have this image appear as an open graph image. So we have this endpoint that kinda works. Now we want our homepage we can have a default meta have an image. But let's check again what type of parameters we want. Let's go up to here, for example. Maybe up to here. And we want all the images and Twitter card, I guess. So in our layout, let's use this. Let's use this. And let's not use anything else because that's it, I suppose. What's going to be the alt text for the image? In any case, our image should have a URL, I guess, and an alt. So if we go to our JavaScript definitions, default meta is just a record, interestingly enough, which maybe it shouldn't be. It should be quite specific. Default meta is title string, description string, image URL, nope, image URL, image with an object of URL string, and alt string. So here in our layout server, we should have an image, then URL, whatever, and an alt. There. So this URL must be absolute. So I can assume we can use URL origin and then go to API OG and maybe find like the king crown Emoji character code. But of course we need to escape this. And I think that should make it default. That should make it default to the crown if we haven't added anything. We actually need to use it in our layout file. So here the content will actually be metadata. What will it be? Let's make image look for meta image, or else it's going to be default meta image, and then this is going to be image URL, and this is going to be image description. And all of these are the social image stuff. So I've grouped them together. And let's see if that has indeed added anything. So it is adding an image that's on this URL. Let's go. Couldn't find an emoji for this. Why not? Why not? Because it has an extra space, you say. Alright. So we made it there, I guess. It's not actually the emoji of the day. But we're getting there. So by default, we're gonna say the emoji of the day is this. But for our main route, we can return a different image. And the URL is actually going to be but we need to encode this. Let's get the URL from our load method. Oh, encode your component. Excellent. I was gonna make it harder for myself. But GitHub Copilot says this will work. Maybe we can do the same on the layout. So now we should be getting the tram. Yeah, get the tram, we get the description. It's trolley bus, it's not even a tram. Interestingly enough. So now when we say we at least have like a little image to go. And there are still improvements in play. So the actual default image, we could have it be something else. We could have like a different title for the historical images as well. It could say the emoji of 2010 was this emoji. We could do stuff like that. But those are improvements for another day. I'm eager to deploy this and see if it's gonna work. So we're not gonna use the color emoji, sadly. We're gonna use this. We're gonna use this. We did bring in Satori, which kind of works. We did add the image as a default meta thing. We are returning a default image here, our load method, and we've made our layout, use these extra properties, mainly OG Open Graph URL, and oh no, not that one, mainly OG image, Twitter card, we always say it's some other lettered image, and the alt for the image as well for Twitter. And we return these things here. This has been the bulk of the stream, trying to get this server endpoint working. But it's all been worth it. Let's do a, did I leave any console logs? Sanity check. And sync it, and then Vercel will deploy it, and we can run it against the tool. This tool. Let's see if we get something. Go to GitHub, Emoji of the X. Check it out in the description for the link. Check out this project. And but for sure, I am excited to start doing Tuesday streams as well and work with Next.js. It's been a while since I've done a stream on it, and I do honestly enjoy working with it. And still, like for bigger company work that I do, it's usually Next.js. And it's popular for a reason. Like the worst part about Next.js is React fatigue, for sure, if you've done a lot of React. But the best part is everything else. Defo don't do React any other way, even though I do have the remix jacket for being a supporter of that project when it was paid for. Alright. This is deployed. Let's paste this to our tool and hopefully get something. Ta-da! Alright, better than what we had before. Ah, we forgot to have the character be dynamic as well. But better than what we had, isn't it? It's interesting how there is a bit of a gap here, because there is a gap on the emoji, I guess, but not quite enough on the right side. Maybe we can amend that, but that's by the by. I consider this a big success. Cool. So if there are no further chat comments, chat questions, I think this is gonna be it. Maybe I'll have a quick look and see the status of my puppy, and she can make a cameo appearance if she's not asleep. So stay tuned for that. Puppy just fell asleep, so it's not a good idea to wake her up. She needs her sleep. She's a growing puppy. So just to recap for the day. We did use Satori with SvelteKit. It wasn't the most straightforward thing in the world. especially because you do need to set it up with custom fonts. Using custom fonts on the server is always tricky, but we got there in the end. It wasn't too bad. We did have to resort to putting the fonts in the static directory instead of importing them using Vite, which I don't know why, but we managed. And then style with Tailwind, well, that didn't happen. We styled in the most old school way possible, or most old school React way. So we wrote some JSX by hand without those fancy, anyway, I can't even explain it correctly. It's been so long since the create element stuff was even deprecated in React, so I won't do it justice. But we managed to style and get decent looking cerements, dynamic cerements. Again, if you don't need dynamism in your social media images, and you probably don't, just handcraft one that's gonna look nice and get people excited to click through and visit your site. Most of the time, that's what you want. But if you really need dynamism, you can do it with SvelteKit and Satori, as we saw today. Not as straightforward as the Next.js and Carousel OG integration, but still, it works. Let me know what you'd like to see next. So we could post the emoji pics every day they happen. We could post them on Discord, have a Discord bot that you can add on your Discord server. Similarly, we can post to Twitter every day. We can also make the app pick the emoji of the week and a month, because if you want to do like a photography challenge, then maybe shooting every day is a bit too much. Maybe you want a week. If you're doing a filmography challenge, then definitely doing one a day, maybe not possible. But with TikTok, some people do like 3 a day, so maybe it is possible. Who knows? But also, always let me know, always up to here, feedback and subjects that you think are interesting. If I think I can actually cover them and I think are interesting, I may get to them. And I am working on the next video, which is gonna be about integrating ChatGPT with SvelteKit. I've sorted, I'm in the process of editing it. It's gonna be 20 minutes long or thereabouts, so it's gonna take a while to edit. I always get stuck in editing it, but it's been fun to shoot and get something nice together for you. And that's about it. I'll most likely see you Tuesday for a new series on Next.js, in addition to the Coding and Chill Fridays. Let me check the chat. And I did somehow kill my iPad. Let's try to restart it yet again. Okay, it worked. So I can actually exit the stream and won't be stuck here forever. Thanks a bunch for watching. Hope you have lovely Fridays and lovely weekends. See you around.